And we are back with Joe's Knows NBA episode 3 once again. I'm Giacomo Morpelli, joined here by Avery Stetz, Matt Friedman, Zaylu, and Isaiah Metal. Guys, we have an action-packed episode today. Obviously, the NBA in-season tournament is starting right around now. A couple of the games have already been played, so we're going to be giving some of our predictions for the group winners as well as our wild card picks, and then also just some general, early in the season predictions, such as some under and overachievers that we each like that we each want to talk about and some of our way too early finals predictions. But Avery, obviously a lot of people in season tournament new to the NBA this year. I'm going to let you just give a little debrief, explain what it's all about, explain some of the seeding, and explain how it works.
All right. So all 30 teams have been randomly drawn into 5 groups within their conference based on win-loss records of last year. Beginning this past Friday and until November 28th, each team will play 4 designated group play games on tournament nights, 1 game against each opponent within its group, with 2 games at home and 2 on the road. 8 teams will then advance to the knockout rounds. The team with the best standing group play games in each of the 6 groups, and 2 wild cards, the team from each conference with the best record in group play games that finish second in their group. Knockout rounds will be single elimination to quarterfinals from Monday, December 4th to Tuesday, December 5th, semifinals, and then the championship. And players are competing for the first ever NBA Cup.
It's definitely going to be an interesting look. Obviously, it's a regular season cup, so not as much of a playoff feel as a lot of people would think. But Avery, I'll let you go first. Can you give us all of your group winners and your 2 wild cards that will be going to Vegas to compete for the cup?
Yes. Out of the West, Group A, I had the Lakers. Group B is the Nuggets. C, my own team, the Warriors, and my wild card is actually the Timberwolves. I think they could be pretty exciting. A little bit of a sleeper dark horse team right there. And then out of the East, the Sixers in Group A, Bucks for Group B, C, the Nets, and the wild card, the Raptors.
Interesting look. I don't believe anyone's going to have any problems there. So Matt, I'll throw it right over to you. Then you want to give us your picks?
Yeah, for the West A, I have the Suns. For the West B, I have the Nuggets. For the West C, I have the Warriors. And then my wild card in the West is the Oklahoma City Thunder. And then in the East, for the Group A, I have the Cavaliers. For Group B, I have the Bucks. C, I have the Celtics. And my wild card is going to be the Toronto Raptors.
Raptors love showing early. Dominic Urbafina not on the show today. We know he'd picked them to win Group C, but obviously no shot here that they're actually going to win it. Zaylu, I'll throw it over to you. You want to give us your picks?
For my West A, I have the Lakers. Sorry, I have the Suns. For West B, I have the Nuggets. C, Timberwolves, and my wild card are the Spurs. For the East, my A winners are the Sixers. B, Bucks. C, Celtics, and the wild card in the East, the Nets.
Not really. I don't believe there's much to debate so far with any of the picks. So Isaiah Metal, I'll throw it on over to you.
Yeah, for my West A, I have the Phoenix Suns. For my West B, I have the Nuggets. And West C, I have the Timberwolves. I agree with Zaylu here with the wildcards being the Spurs. For East A, I have Sixers. East B, I have Bucks. And East C, I have Celtics with the wild card being the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Yeah, once again, a lot of the same teams. Now, if you guys have watched the show for long enough, you guys know I hate the chalk picks. So I'm not taking the chalk pick for a lot of these groups just because of either things I've seen or not. So with that being said, for the West A, I will take the Suns and agree with you guys. For the West B, I'm going to take an upset pick here. I'm going to take the Dallas Mavericks. Have looked very, very good early. Luka Doncic been absolutely balling. I'll take them to beat out the Nuggets. In West C, I will take the Warriors with my wild card being the Minnesota Timberwolves. In the East A, excuse me, I'm going to take another upset pick. I'm going to take the Indiana Pacers to come out of that division and win that. In the B, I'll take the Bucks, and in the C, I'll take Boston. So once again, and my wild card being the Cavs. Sorry. So yeah, a couple of upset picks there. I'm a big Mavericks guy. They look really good. 6-1, obviously so far. Only loss was to the Nuggets in a close game. I know Matt's shaking his head, but I don't know why. The Nuggets are 6-1. Their only loss is a close one to the Nuggets. And then this Pacers team has really, really impressed me. They've beaten that Cavs team not once but twice already in the regular season, and they won their first in-season tournament playoff game already. So I think they're set up in a pretty good position with the weekend Sixers team so far.
Yeah. So what I think is just completely unbelievable right off the bat. And the rest, I don't, it's okay. Right? Obviously, we're early on in the season. We don't know what to expect, from all of these teams. So I don't really hate anything else other than the Mavericks pick. So not only are you going against the defending world champion Denver Nuggets, the Nuggets already beat the Mavs in the first in-season tournament game. So essentially what you are saying by picking the Mavs is that they're going to go undefeated against the Pelicans, Rockets, and Clippers, and the Nuggets are going to lose at 1 to 2 games out of the Clippers, the Pelicans, and the Rockets. That to me is absolutely unbelievable. You're talking about the best team in the league, no doubt, defending champs. They already beat the Mavs by 11 in the in-season tournament game. I just make that make sense to me because I do not understand that.
Yeah, and this team is 6-1. If you watch that Nuggets game, I was watching a lot of film on it. It was a close game. Nuggets pulled away a little bit at the end of the game. I just really like the Mavericks team. Again, I'm a big Luka Doncic guy. I think that they can go undefeated. I definitely don't think it's out of the question. This Nuggets team is very, very good. But again, I'm not a chalk pick guy. And I think that this Mavericks team is really built for this year. I think that they're just an all-around very, very well-built team.
But they're already a game back from the Nuggets. That's what I'm trying to say. The Nuggets already have the head-to-head win on them. Mm-hmm. So this is where I don't really understand.
So let me flip the script on you. You took the Cavs to win. Pacers already have the head-to-head win on them in the East A. I mean, they already have a game up on the Cavs.
The Pacers are not defending world champions with the best player on earth playing for their team. That's
your logic. I didn't say that. I said the Nuggets were very, very good. I didn't say that. I'm just saying I'm using your argument against you.
But my argument is that the Nuggets are already a game up and they have the best team in the world. The Pacers do not have even close to the best team in the world. I think the Cavs have a much better roster than the Pacers. I mean, you have the Cavs making it into the playoffs as the wild card. So I mean, clearly you're high on them as well. My logic is not just, they won the first game, so they're going to be in. No, the Nuggets are 1-0 over the Mavericks, and the Nuggets are the best team in this entire league, let alone group. I think there's no debate here that they're the best team in West B. So how are they going to drop 1 to 2 games where the Mavericks slide in?
I completely agree with Matt here. I can kind of see where Guac's coming from. This Mavericks team, it has Luka Doncic. He's one of the best young players under 25 in the NBA. They have Kyrie Irving, who's a bit of a wild card, though. But it's the Denver Nuggets. They're the defending champs. They're the best team in the league. And that's all that has to be said. That's it. That's the argument. You can do that with any other defending champ ever. That's it. That's all you have to say. They're the defending champs. Enough said.
For sure. I just wanted to be I'm not sleeping on the Nuggets, but once again, I really love what I've seen out of this Mavericks team early. With that,
I'll go. So with Avery's claim and that the Nuggets are just this unstoppable team and they're gonna win this group, it's not really as far away as it seems. I feel like it's going to be a really, really close battle. It could go down to the last game with these two teams. With Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic building up a storm over there in Dallas, doing this sort of amazing thing in the first few games of the season. And also you have this Nuggets team who, with Jokic, is making the league look like a second job for him with how easy he's operating through this league. I feel like it could be really, really close last game decider. And it's just really, really, really good group to watch.
I'm actually going to agree wholeheartedly with Giacomo on the fact that the Mavericks are going to be the champions of this West B. Even though I did not put them, I put the Nuggets. I can see where Matt's coming from, but the fact that we just got in that Jamal Murray will be out for several weeks, and who is going to step in for him? A guy like Christian Braun. Julian Strawther is a good second piece, but he does not have the consistency to go every single night. The Mavericks have players like Luka Doncic, Derek Lively, and Kyrie Irving. That big three will carry you the entire way. I think that they'll just keep winning games, and they'll make that upset in West B.
So this is why I partially agree. I think as it is right now with Jamal Murray out, the Mavs can easily make a run as having a better roster than the Nuggets currently, no doubt about it. But the immediate tiebreaker in when deciding who wins each group is head-to-head wins. So given that the Nuggets are already up one game on the Mavericks, they have the head-to-head win. That means you're going to say the Mavericks are going to win the last 3 games, Clippers, Pelicans, Rockets, and the Nuggets are going to lose 2 of those last 3 games. That to me is a little wild to think that is going to work exactly as planned. The Nuggets are going to lose to the Rockets the Rockets, Pelicans, or Clippers. 2 of those teams at least they're going to lose to. Nikola Jokic is the best player on the planet. I don't care what anyone says. He has the same supporting cast that won him the NBA Finals. I understand they're losing the point guard, Jamal Murray, but I think to say that they're going to lose 2 of those games is a little wild to me. That's just my take on it, especially when the winner of the group is decided on head-to-head, and they already have the head-to-head win over the Mavericks.
The thing with the West B, right? There's a lot of competition. You can't even just count out those 2 teams as the 2 front runners. You have a Clippers team with PG-13, Russ, and then you have James Harden and Kawhi. Like, come on. That team is insane if they're healthy. Without the load management and stuff, those 2 could – that team could probably beat a team like the Nuggets or, Dallas. You have Rockets, a young and sprouting team. Same thing with New Orleans with Zion Williamson. It's not like this is such an easy to go through league with the Nuggets and the Mavericks, being the 2 front runners. Anything could really happen in this specific group. I feel like it's the most entertaining one, and I feel like it's going to be really, really close going down to the battle. But I just feel like the Nuggets just might barely pull it.
I'm actually going to piggyback off of exactly what Isaiah said. Oh, my bad. Yeah. So I'm going to piggyback off of what Isaiah said. I'll make it quick. That Clippers team, once they get chemistry, they're going to be very scary. That's going to be one of the Nuggets' loss. And a good 3-3 Rockets team will, I guess, progress in this in-season tournament and will upset the Nuggets in that game, and that'll help the Mavericks progress to winning that group.
For sure. With that being said, you can clearly see both sides there. But with no other words, that'll move us on into our second segment so far. We're going to move into some, just looking at the first couple of games in general and not looking at the in-season tournament. Some teams that we thought, have really just underachieved and have just been really depressing. We were really high on not performing the way that we've seen them play. And then some overachievers, team that we were really low on, teams that have kind of that raised our eyes a little bit, and teams to, put on the radar for the rest of the season possibly. Matt, I'll let you go first with your 2 teams.
Yeah, so number 1, I just want to say the Memphis Grizzlies, they're my team, complete underachiever. I understand Ja's out for the first 25 games, and that's killer, obviously. We had Steven Adams go down with an injury. Brandon Clark hasn't been available either. So those are really tough injuries. I really was expecting this team to take a little bit of a stride and be, not 1-6, as extremely bad as they've been to this point. What I will say is Desmond Bane has been the complete bright spot on this team. He's averaging 27 a game right now. His playmaking starting to go up with 4 assists, and the defense has really been there with 2 steals. But as a whole, the Grizzlies have been a complete disappointment for me, far and away. And then if we're going to look at, my overachiever and my surprising team, Isaiah touched on it before. The Houston Rockets have been very solid. Dillon Brooks has been unreal with his efficiency. Fred VanVleet with 8 assists per game and less than 2 turnovers per game. That's unbelievable. They've put together some great games against some great teams, narrowly losing to the Spurs in San Antonio, and then 3 wins in a row, 2 against the Kings, and then the Hornets. I think this is a team that can really surprise some people and sneak into the play-in by the end of the year.
For sure. Not really agree. Just Avery, I'll throw it on to you for your 2 teams.
My 2 teams, my underachiever was the Suns. They did not have a hot start to this season so far. They're 3-4 right now. Obviously, they got the win opening night against Golden State. But with Booker and Beal fighting injuries, you can kind of see the flaw in this super team when you don't have 2 of your stars with you and you're just left with Kevin Durant. And Kevin Durant has been performing as Kevin Durant does, pure greatness. He's averaging 30-plus a night, but he has to carry this team that isn't as deep as it seems. Now, Booker and Beal are dealing with injuries, and they should be back in a few days, maybe a couple weeks. But this team is a top team in the West when Booker and Beal are healthy, but they don't look like it right now. And I can definitely see them being a top 3-4 seed in the West by playoffs, but right now it does not look like that. And then my overachievers is obviously my team, the Golden State Warriors, just 6-1 out of the gate, far better road record than compared to last season. And things that really surprised me that Isaiah said last time wouldn't happen is Chris Paul coming off the bench was not a good thing. And Chris Paul has been positive both off the bench and starting in the plus-minus category, according to ESPN, which takes off a lot of weight on Steph Curry having to carry the team and gives the offense a different look each time he's on the floor. The bench unit is far better than last year, and the chemistry that Draymond Green praised about in the offseason is actually showing up on the floor. And then, of course, it's Steph Curry. He's a 50-40-9, 45-90 shooting splits the first 8 games of the season. He's done that 3 times, and one of those times is in 2016, his unanimous MVP season. And we all know how good he was then. And if we're comparing a 35-year-old to that, this team is a top 3 team in the West, no question. That's not me being biased. That's me looking at the numbers. And Klay Thompson is starting to show up like his former self. However, Andrew Wiggins hasn't shown up yet, but we all know Andrew Wiggins. He'll still be there. But this Warriors team is looking completely different than they did at the end of last year. And I think that's something really scary because you don't want to see a good Warriors team later in the year.
For sure. Good points there. Zelu, throw to you.
My underachievers are going to be the Utah Jazz. Walker Kessler suffered a UCL sprain, out for several weeks. Jordan Clarkson, his production has not been up to what we saw last year. He had more than 20 points. That record is not looking great at all. They're 2-6, not working at all for them. Talen Horton-Tucker, a new guy from the Lakers, he's not producing like he did in the playoffs on that team, and it's just something you don't want to see. My overachievers, I'm a diehard Brooklyn Nets fan. Even though that record does not show what they have been doing, 3-4, they have been doing amazing. Cam Thomas scoring over 25 points a game. Mikal Bridges being a great second op. He's taken a back seat to a man who is very young, opposed to him, and he's taken a back seat to him. And those 2 players have been doing amazing. And I think once they get Nicholas Claxton back, the league is going to be shown on notice, and that's why I picked them as my overachievers.
Metal, throw it over to you.
So my underachievers, I'm gonna go with the Lakers. Last show I was really hyping them up this season. The real problem is just Anthony Davis. 7 games in and he's already injured. Like, this is just a major problem. You really have to now rely on that bench to be productive on the court. And when you're losing games like Sacramento, Orlando, like, that's just a problem. You shouldn't have those sort of games happening early in the season. It's just hurting the Lakers a little bit. I feel like they're definitely going to get better throughout the season, but within these 7 days, extremely mediocre start, and I feel like there's such a better team inside there. My overachievers, I'm going to go with my Philadelphia 76ers. With James Harden's trade, everyone expected, this team to be down in the dust, but when you have Nick Nurse, NBA experience, you won a championship with the Raptors, that's one really great plus side. Joel Embiid's being productive just like last season, starting off on the same foot. 48-point games is just amazing. And then you have other role players, Tobias Harris, Kelly Oubre Jr., and Tyrese Maxey picking up what James Harden, left. With all that offense, Maxey's just being such a great young guard. It's sort of amazing to watch. And then you have even players off the bench, Pat Bev, DeAnthony Melton, those 2 really great defensive players. I feel like this team is clicking right now. I feel like they could go really far this season, probably get 2nd spot, 3rd spot with this sort of record. And within the playoffs, I feel like this team could be completely different from the last 3-4 seasons.
Yeah, going back to that Lakers pick, I'm gonna give myself a little bit of flowers. We were talking about their over/under win total last episode. I said they're going under because of this exact reason. Anthony Davis already down. I don't think that those role players can carry them to get over that win total, and I think that's just going to be a common theme throughout the season. Obviously, counting that slow start that they've had. But for my picks with my underachievers, I'm going to go with the team that I was super high on in the first episode. That's Sacramento Kings. They just have not looked impressive at all to me. Keegan Murray really struggling to shoot the ball, shooting under 35%. I mean, the Kings have just lost in bad games. I mean, they've lost back-to-back to the Rockets. You guys talked about how they're overachieving for sure. But, I mean, if you're the Kings coming off that successful playoff run, I mean, you can't be losing back-to-back to the Rockets. Got swept by the Warriors twice, too. I mean, just some tough losses early for the Kings. They have a tough schedule, But just outside of that, Sabonis hasn't looked that great. Fox is still being De'Aaron Fox. He's been amazing. But this Kings team really just has not been performing to the level that I've been expecting out of them and from what I saw last year. And for my overachievers, I think probably the most surprising team to me, it's been the Minnesota Timberwolves. I mean, they've looked like one of the best teams in the NBA right now. Anthony Edwards has been given the keys to Minnesota. He's been absolutely balling, averaging 28 points per game. I mean, and this Timberwolves team as a whole, Gobert, everyone's trashing that trade. He's looked a lot better than he did this year. Him and Karl Anthony Towns starting maybe to build a little bit of chemistry down low. He's obviously not going to be that big offensive scorer, but he's been great on defending inside the paint so far. And Cat, is Cat. He's always going to go out there, give you his best. And so this Minnesota Timberwolves team, they've also taken out some really tough teams. Beat the Nuggets by double digits, took down a good Heat team, and took down the Celtics too. So that's 3 pretty impressive wins, that I've seen out of them.
I feel like Jock. I think he has probably the best picks out of all 5 of us. I couldn't agree basically more with his ideas of Sacramento being this underachieving team. I feel like they're sort of edging back to the 2021-22 season where it was just sort of mediocre, not as good as last season when, they obviously made it to the playoffs. Really, really great team. I feel like they're just sort of getting back to those old routes with Sabonis not being as productive. De'Aaron Fox still doing De'Aaron Fox things. I feel like Sacramento is just not the best place for him because with the player that good of quality, I feel like he could probably do the same thing, with just had a better team, a team that actually have a chance to win a championship. I feel like that Kings team is just sort of spreading apart in a way. And, with the Timberwolves team, he's also completely right, Jock. With Anthony Edwards being insane the first 6-7 games, it's amazing. Karl Anthony Towns, stretching the floor, being a big man like usual. Rudy Gobert sort of getting into that defensive player of the year for him. It's just a really, really good connecting team. I feel like Jock's picks probably trump all of us.
Yeah, I have to agree. Great picks across the board. But I want to back Isaiah up on his 76ers pick. Joel Embiid is putting up, again, MVP numbers, 32.5 points per game. And they have a tough test against the Celtics tonight. But Tyrese Maxey, like you said, Isaiah, just absolutely taking what James Harden left, if there really was anything, and just extending it even more. The young man has 25.5 points per game and 7.3 assists. This kid is just doing everything right, it seems. And he certainly is the key that 76ers seem to have needed. And Tobias Harris even 1.3 steals a game. Like, this team is now well-rounded without James Harden. Now, I'm not saying James Harden wasn't a good pickup, but James Harden couldn't perform in the playoffs. This team looks like it can perform in the playoffs. And I think it should be a fun team to watch, especially tonight against the Celtics.
Yeah, with that being said, two of the top dominant teams in the Eastern Conference. But with that being said, we're going to move on into our last segment. Very, very early finals predictions, super, super early. But this is just based off of our first impressions, It could be, accounting for some stuff that we saw last year. It's just some new stuff. So, Matt, I'll throw it to you. Who is your very early finals prediction?
Yeah, I first of all, I don't really think there's too many wrong answers here. It's very early in the year, but my finals prediction is going to be the Nuggets versus the Bucks, and I'll have the Nuggets repeating in 7 games over the Bucks.
Avery?
I picked Warriors and Celtics, and probably going to get a lot of heat from this because the West is really tough, especially with the Nuggets. But I think this Warriors team can just go all the way and reclaim the throne. I have them in 6.
Zaylo, throw to you.
I'm going to go straight with Avery. I got the Celtics versus the Warriors. I actually have the Celtics in 6 in that one, but definitely a great pick right there.
Sure, Zayman, I'll throw to you.
Yeah, I have the Nuggets against the Sixers. I have the Nuggets in 6. Sixers right now starting season off really, really great. Same thing with the Nuggets. I feel like those are probably some of the best teams in the NBA. I feel like that's going to be such a great matchup. But I have the Nuggets at 6.
Yeah, I have the same matchup as Matt as well. I have the Bucks and the Nuggets, but I'm gonna go a different route. I'll take the Bucks in 6. I think Giannis is still the best player in the world, so I'm gonna take him beating the Nuggets. So if anyone wants to hop in, start debating some of these picks, then we can go right at it. Okay.
Hold on. Giannis is the best player in the world?
I still think so.
What? Jokic is a back-to-back MVP, should have won last year. Joel Embiid did not deserve that MVP. 1,000% Jokic should be a 3-time MVP.
He did. Joel did deserve it last year.
But he also took his team to win an NBA Finals.
Giannis did too.
Yeah, Giannis had Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday, Brook Lopez, incredible bench, incredible coaching. Jokic had nowhere near that team. Nowhere near it. What Jokic is doing, we have never seen before ever. He's giving you a triple-double with some of the best efficiency numbers I've ever seen. How is he not the best player in the world, especially after he comes off of winning the NBA Finals with the team subpar to the team that Giannis won it with? That blows my mind.
I mean, hey, man, I think that's personal bias. I've loved what Giannis Antetokounmpo has done. I mean, he's been blowing everyone out. This guy, people are scared to face this guy. Listen, I'm not saying Jokic is bad. I think he's the second best player. I just don't think what Giannis did is more impressive than what Jokic did.
What did Giannis do that's more impressive? What did he do that's more impressive?
I mean, that Bucks team, really, you're talking about like it's good. It's not really a good team. Nikola Jokic has Jamal Murray too. He had good role players. It's not like he had a bad team. So Giannis, they're probably right around the same. And I'm still a Giannis guy. I'd still rather take Giannis.
I'm sorry, Glock. I think the field's against you. I mean, clearly, Matt and I feel differently. Jokic is throwing up a triple-double every single night. He may not do it every single night, but he can do it. And he's throwing up 28 points per game, 12 rebounds a game, 8 assists a game. No one else on the Nuggets is close in that besides Jamal Murray. And Giannis said the best player in the world is the team that leads their team to a championship. Giannis was the best player in the world. Then it was Steph Curry. Now it's Jokic. And Jokic is the best player in the world.
Okay. So based off of stats, I get Jokic being the best player in the world, with points, rebounds, and assists he gets. It is really, really insane. But I feel like Giannis is the most unstoppable player in the world. When he has the ball, there's nothing that you could do to stop him. He could drop 70 points if he wanted to, with just how strong he is, the brute force he has, the amount of energy. Jokic doesn't have that because he lacks athleticism. You could say Giannis lacks his shooting, but he can just get to the paint whenever he wants. There's nothing that's really going to stop him. Just going to use brute force. He could drop an insane stat line if he wanted to. Jokic does it because his team surrounding him right now is really, really good of his assists. Giannis, he's just a point getter. Offensively, he's better than Jokic. Defensively, he's better than Jokic. It's probably playmaking that Jokic only beats him, but I feel like Giannis is just a better player.
Would agree.
I don't. I mean, clearly, Giannis.
Yeah.
Matt, let me get one more, and then you can go. Giannis downhill, unstoppable. But Jokic can pretty much. He's found his spot. He will pass. He's got great court vision. He can pass. He's not really that good of a defender as Giannis, but he can pass and he can shoot. That's something that Giannis can't really do. Giannis isn't the kind of guy who will set up at the top of the key, look around, and then throw a behind-the-back pass to a wide-open Jamal Murray or somebody who's like and thread a needle in a very tight window to an Aaron Gordon cut into the lane. Giannis downhill is unstoppable, but Jokic is so slow that it throws defenders off his game. So they give him so much space that he can just knock down a free jumper. Giannis is just fast and strong downhill. He is the second best player in the world, but Jokic is number one because A, he won a title and took his team there, and B, there's really nothing you can do to stop him because he's so slow, he throws everyone off his game.
Hold on. I'm sorry. I have to jump in. Avery, bro. You're saying Jokic is the best player in the world because he is slow.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Think
so
about
I
it.
can say Giannis is the best player in the world because this man is over 250 pounds and steamrolling people, scoring 30 points a game in 2021, 11 rebounds a game in 2021, 6 assists in 2021, and brought his team to a championship in 2021. Jokic brought his team to the finals with Bruce Brown, Jamal Murray, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, and Aaron Gordon. Matt, you said that Giannis had surrounding factors on his team, correct? That's what you're saying, correct?
Yeah.
All right. Jokic also had surrounding players on his team, correct?
Not as good as Giannis, but
Aaron Gordon, key player in that series, had over 15 points per game. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, knockdown shooter during that. Jamal Murray was averaging 20-something points that entire series. That's just someone you could take out of the equation. Bruce Brown got an entire new contract because his entire playoff series with that one team. You cannot say that Giannis has less firepower on his bench. Sorry, more firepower on his bench than a guy like Jokic. They both had the same amount, and saying that Jokic, top of the key. Oh, behind the back pass. Oh, behind the back pass. Giannis is doing the exact same thing. I'm sure you've seen that entire clip of him throwing the ball here and then throwing the ball back. He has 2 less assists than Jokic in that one playoff series. He was having 5.8 in that series, 30 points, 11 rebounds. I mean, both of their stat lines are about the same, but you're trying to say that Giannis, a guy who is physically built better, faster, stronger, makes his teammates better, is worse than a guy who's slow, doesn't want to play in the NBA, and won a finals with other people who got contracts because of the entire team progress.
So this is what I'm going to first off say. The athletic ability really shouldn't be brought up in this argument because if we're talking fastest player, like Gilbert Arenas isn't the best player of all time. He's the fastest player we've ever seen. Maybe him or John Wall, Prime Russ. I think we can all agree they're not the best players of all time. So athletic ability, I'm looking at the numbers, right? Nikola Jokic is on pace to be the first player ever to be top 10 in the entire NBA in points, rebounds, assists, and field goal percentage. That is unbelievable. Numbers-wise, he's just better than Giannis. Point blank, period. But then, if we look at the supporting cast they had, the Milwaukee Bucks had an 11-8 record without Giannis Antetokounmpo in the year that they won the finals. So they had a winning record without him the year they won the finals, right? You were looking at the Denver Nuggets. Let's just look at the last 2 years. Last year, they had a losing record. They were 5-8 without him. The year before, they were 2-6 without him. The Nuggets need Jokic to be good. That's a fact. They need him to be good. The Bucks team is good enough to win games without him. So numbers-wise, Nikola Jokic is doing stuff that we have never seen before ever. He's more efficient than Giannis. He's a better rebounder than Giannis. He's a better playmaker than Giannis. He is a better offensive player than Giannis, without a doubt. Playmaking goes into offense. He is no doubt a better offensive player than Giannis. This year, he is averaging more points. He's averaging more rebounds. He is averaging more assists. He has a way better field goal percentage, and he's coming off of winning a world championship. What does Giannis have going for him? Like I just listed pretty much every single category. I don't see where Giannis is ahead of Jokic.
Okay, so like there's a lot of problems with what Matt just said. With one being the teams, I feel like those teams were even. If not, Jokic's team was probably better than Giannis's team. I feel like stats wise,
Jokic like numbers. The Nuggets had a winning record without Giannis. That's a fact.
They have a winning record without Giannis.
The Nuggets had a losing record without Jokic, and the Bucks had a winning record without Giannis.
Okay, so we can say the Bucks had a winning record without Giannis. 11-8 is not the best winning record. When you have 11 wins and 8 losses, you feel like Giannis on the floor, he makes so much space for other players. He makes so much space for players like Chris Middleton. Right now, he has space for players like Dame Lillard, Brook Lopez. Giannis is probably a better player on the court than Jokic is. Jokic, behind the back pass, over the head pass. He has some flashy assists. He probably has 5 more assists than Giannis does average in this season. And it's just, Jokic, as a player, he's slow. He's not athletic, and that does make a big toll. That just removes his ability to defend. And a lot of players can get past him easily. That's the same problem with Joel Embiid. He's not as athletic as players. So you have players like Kevin Durant who just dribble past him and gets points. Giannis, no, nothing's happening like that. You can't just dribble past Giannis. Victor Wembanyama won't be able to dribble or jump over Giannis because of his athleticism, because of his jumping, because of his speed. He's a better defender than Jokic. That's one. Points. This season you could say Jokic averaged more points than Giannis. The past 3, 4, 5 seasons, that hasn't been the case. Giannis has been averaging 30 plus points a game, been such a better scoring player than Jokic. And you could take away his ability to shoot. He's just getting to the paint, and he can still shoot at the end of the day. We was talking about yesterday's game when he went 1 for 7. It wasn't all that great. But at the same day, that's a 3-pointer. He doesn't really need to shoot. You have Dame Lillard and Chris Middleton on your team. Right now, at the end of the season, probably Bucks could go ahead win the championship over the Knicks because of Giannis's just ability to make his team better, and Jokic's ability to make his team better also isn't that bad, but Giannis is just better.
Okay, so from what I got from both arguments, Matt, your argument is that Jokic is better because he made his teammates better, or is it because he can do things better than Giannis? Why?
My argument is that Jokic statistically is just a better player than Giannis. He's coming off of a world championship. His team was worse than his supporting cast was worse than the Bucks supporting cast. Brook Lopez, great role player. Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton, both all-star level players. So, I mean, he's a better winner than Giannis. He is better statistically than Giannis. I don't really use anything else other than statistics and wins. There's nothing else really. It's really the two things to go off of. So that's what I'm going off of here.
Okay, yeah, and I will back you up because if you look at the great players from generations, if you look at LeBron, when LeBron's off the floor, when LeBron misses games, his team doesn't do good. When Steph is off the floor, his team does not do good. When Jordan is off the floor, his team definitely does not do good. Great players make their team great and make their teammates great as well. When you take them away, it deprives that team of that greatness. If you take Jordan out of the finals in '98, the Bulls probably lose that series. If you take LeBron off the team in 2016, they lose the series. If you take Steph out of the team, out of that 2016 team, they don't go 73-9. Great players make everybody around them better. And if Jokic does that, Giannis kind of does that because he knows that he's going to have everybody else on the outside, but he does not have yet the ability to take his team along with his greatness to the next level like Jordan did, like Steph does, and like LeBron does. He does not have – Jokic does that. Jokic had a less supporting cast than Giannis did when Giannis won the championship. And Jokic looked around and saw everybody that he had, and he said, okay, we're all doing this together, and we're going to go win a championship, and I'm going to use my greatness to elevate you guys. Giannis did that maybe once in the 2021 finals, but to do it consistently makes you great. Giannis hasn't done that consistently yet. I think he can, but Jokic is the most consistent person that has done that to date.
So, Avery, you said right that Giannis is not able to make his team great, make his team better.
No, I said that he hasn't shown that he can. He can. He definitely can. Because as if you're going to be one of the greatest players of all time and a Hall of Fame inductee, which he probably will be, you will end up making your teammates better. But he hasn't shown that he's done that yet consistently. When I look at a great player, at the best player in the league, it's somebody who is consistent with their numbers, making their teammates better, and their win totals. That's what makes the best player in the league. It's somebody who can take their team and say, with me and my team, we're better than your team. Giannis hasn't done that yet. Jokic has.
So when we go back to 2021, right, when Giannis won against the Phoenix Suns in the NBA Finals, let me read you a stat line. 35.2 points per game, 13.2 rebounds, and 5 assists. That was in the finals. He drops 20 points, 40 points, 50 points games against the Sun team in the NBA Finals, the biggest stage in the NBA, right? This is what he does. Giannis Antetokounmpo does. That's making his team great. That's making his team better. So, right, in that NBA Finals, right, with those stats, 5 assists, by the way. Making a team better. Scoring points, getting 13 rebounds and 5 assists also to add on to those 35 points he scored in the biggest stage of the NBA. That's not making a team better.
Yeah, good takes there. Go ahead.
No.
Real quick.
I mean, yes and no. Like, who was the second highest scorer? Was it Chris Middleton? How many points did he have in that series?
Let me find it.
Because if it's making somebody better means making them perform better in the playoffs. To give a most recent example, Steph Curry does it. Steph Curry does it all the time. He got Harrison Barnes a $100 million deal. He made Klay Thompson and Draymond Green first ballot Hall of Famers. And he did that he made Klay Thompson a better player in the playoffs in 2016. And Klay Thompson coined the name Game 6 Klay. Yes, Klay did it kind of for himself too. But Steph made everybody better. He got Kevin Durant 2 championships. Kevin Durant got the Finals MVP by himself. But he made everybody else better. Jokic made everybody else better. He made Jamal Murray look better. He made Aaron Gordon look better and got him his first ring. And of course, Jokic got himself a Finals MVP. Giannis got himself a Finals MVP because he was the most dominant player on the floor. That's not being the best player in the world. The best player in the world is somebody who makes everybody around themselves and themselves individually better.
For sure. We can argue about this all night, but one thing's for sure, these guys are absolutely legit. We'll see how it pans out throughout the rest of the season. We'll see if Giannis is able to reclaim that throne as world champions and as one of the best players in the NBA. But that'll do it for us on JoJo's Basketball Episode 3. Once again, I'm Giacomo Imperiali, Matt Freeman, Avery Stutz, Zay Lou, and Isaiah Metal. You can follow us on TikTok at St. Joe Sports Shows, but we'll be signing off for now. Thank you for watching.